Hey folks, it's Teresa from Stringfield Ridge Farm. Brought my basket out. I'm going to do a little picking, and tomorrow I'm going to do some weeding. So you'll see some weeds, but tomorrow I'm going to get out here and tackle that. It's just been so hot, and it has rained so much that the garden is just muddy. So one thing, I've got several tomato plants around my property in pots, and they were holding up really good, but all this rain and wind has finally kind of knocked some of them over. That one's kind of fell over, but he's still producing. I just picked these two off of there. Oh, four off of there. And so they're not doing bad, even though they are fell over. So there is another one of the container tomatoes, and it's doing great. It's got lots of tomatoes. There's one that needs picking on it over here. Right over here, there's one that needs picking. Oh, he split. I have several that are split, and I guess they say from the rain. So we have had a lot of rain. But I'm going to throw that one in my basket and maybe cut that top part off. There's my marshmallow plant. They grow wild here. The marshmallow grows wild here. But we had decided, I've watched Heidi at Rain Country enough to know what to do with marshmallow. And I decided to dig some up wild and bring here to my property so that I've got it right here. And they're doing great this year. We just dug them up last year from down in the river bottoms. Dug some up, brought them here, and they are doing awesome. But there is lots you can do with the marshmallow. And if you want to know more about that, go check out Heidi at Rain Country Homestead, and you can find out lots of things to do with the marshmallow. Also, I'll show you my, this is another thing that we dug up and moved to our property just so that we would have plenty of it right here on our property. It grows wild in western Kentucky, all over the roadsides. We dug some up to have here, and that is the Jerusalem artichoke. That is, they're really tall this year. We planted those, I think, like 2 years ago, and planted like 2 pieces. Now this year there's a whole group of it, and they're real tall, and we probably need to propagate those. We need to dig some up and use them and replant like roots, and you can use them like potatoes, and they have the roots are like rhizomes, or you could dig those up and use them like potatoes, and that's why we wanted to have some here. But we haven't really used them, and they've been there about 2 years. So yeah, we probably need to kind of propagate those, dig some up and replant them and all that, like you would do garlic or something. The Cherokee tan pumpkins are doing great, and they are getting some blooms on them. So that's good. Those should be able to finish and give us some Cherokee tan pumpkins. There are some blooms. There's one of my Moringa plants, and I planted several of those and didn't know. I was just letting them grow. But I heard somebody say that if you cut off pieces of it, just like an herb, cut some off and it will re-sprout back out. And somebody said keep the top cut out, and then cut limbs, as you know, after they start coming out good, and it would be like herbs. Like the more you cut herbs, the more they seem to grow. And so I did, and that is true. These are all new. I had cut back the top and cut several big leaves off, and now new ones are sprouting up all over it. So I'll let those get a little bigger and then cut some more. I got a little bit of surprise spinach. As hot as it is, I wouldn't think spinach would be growing, but and it was done, but a little bit popped back out, I guess just because it was hid by some green beans on the pole beans and gave it enough shade for it to pop back out, I guess. But anyway, got a little bit of spinach I can throw in a salad tonight. So all in all, I got a few things. I'm fixing, this is just out of mine, fixing to go to the big garden. And there's Emma. Miss Emma still hanging on. And it's getting kind of weedy. I'm fixing to get out here Saturday morning early before it gets too hot and do some weeding. And but yeah, it's going good, going great, except the weeds. And I got to get some of the weeds pulled, but it's not too bad. Now we're gonna go up here to the big garden and pick some stuff. And there's his watermelon patch. That is the Moon and Stars watermelon mixed in with a different one. I can't remember what the other one is. I'll have to ask him. But right in there with the yellow specks is that Moon and Stars. Here is the self-heal that we found 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Lee came upon this and brought me up here to ask me what it was. And it is self-heal that is growing wild here. And if you have seen the video, I don't remember what the title of the video was, but when the electric when the electric company came by and sprayed the trees around the electric pole, and they got some over here on this, and we threw a fit. We had the company representative come down and threw a fit and showed him, and they had sprayed the electric pole for vines and weeds, and they sprayed clear off over here, and we didn't think, we was afraid that it wouldn't come back, but here it is. It's doing great. It spreads all the way from there over there. It's the purple that you see. That is self-heal. And like I said, Lee found it wild here. I have cut some of it and dried it. Alright, so here's the big garden. It's growing up like crazy. We've had so much rain we can't even get in there. It's so muddy. Lee don't even want to walk in there. And a couple of poles that he had beans on fell over. But they're still doing okay. And let's see. Some things are starting to go. The bush beans are starting to turn a little brown. And the pole beans over there is doing okay. Still have one purple cabbage that we need to pick because I don't think it's going to do anymore. Still getting bush beans off of there, but they are starting to fizzle out a little. His okra is doing good.
Yeah, I'm starting to get some off.
And so everything's doing good out here, but it's had so much rain that we can't even get in there to pick it. He's had to pick a few things.
Yeah, I don't like to,
but he don't like to walk out there in the mud
to
do it.
10 pounds of mud on my feet when I come out.
Yep, there's a lot of mosquito. There's a lot of peppers coming on that we need to get picked, but they can wait just a little bit longer. Maybe it'll dry up by tomorrow afternoon or Saturday, and we can get in there and pick the
sure it'll be
peppers.
dry by
They can
Saturday.
wait a little. They're not too big.
Rain.
And all the tomatoes. I'm gonna go down and show all the tomatoes on the other side. So Lee had to go ahead and get in the garden because we got a bunch of red tomatoes. We didn't see it first. And so, even though it's muddy, he had to go ahead and get in there. Look at all them red cherry tomatoes he's got out there. He's trying to stay out of the mud as best he can and get in there and get them. We got just tons of green ones. We didn't see any all of a sudden. All of a sudden we spotted some red ones and was like, oh, gotta get in there and get those. So he braved the mud to get them for me.
And bad thing is, I don't even really like the smell of it.
He don't even like tomatoes. He'll eat green tomatoes, but not. We need to do some green tomatoes. We need to pick a couple of these great big ones and do us some green tomatoes tonight. Might do that. It'd be awful good. There we go. I went ahead and got me some green tomatoes. We're fixing to go back to the house and have some fried green tomatoes for supper. So that's all we got today. There's more out there, but it's too muddy and it's nothing that's gonna get too big and not be able to wait until Saturday or Sunday. So, are you fixing to dance again?
No.
So that's what we got for tonight. And don't you just absolutely love going out to the garden, picking a basket of stuff, and taking it in the house and having it for supper?
That's some of that.
Isn't that the most wonderful thing in the world? We absolutely love it. Okay, one last thing before we go in is the quail. These are the baby quail that I just hatched out of the incubator, when? 2 weeks ago?
Like fixing to be the third weekend after the 4th, and we already had them.
Okay, 3 weeks then. Still, 3 weeks,
Plus,
and
I'd
I've
already
put them
had
out.
the head shaved.
I had them in a, you can't see them good through there. Hang on, folks. We're gonna get in here and show them.
Have them coming
I'm not gonna have them coming out. So I put these in the incubator, got them out 3 weeks ago, he's saying, and we put them in a tote, had them in a tote on the porch with a heat light on them for 3 weeks, and just got them put out here in the older cage. But the older quail, I'm afraid that they would pick on them, so I put these out here that are the same age by themselves in the older cage, and then in the newer cage over there we have the older quail, and we have 5 of them and 5 of these. And I love the pickled quail eggs, so hopefully they'll mostly be females and I can have more pickled quail eggs. And don't forget to watch our regular live show on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We come on, we talk and have a great time and chit chat, and we're on usually, it's supposed to be an hour show, but it's so much fun that we usually end up going 2 hours. So y'all come join us on that.